was no life in Warri, those trust elements of my days in Warri were also found in Lagos. In the mid-80s, I recall a building as big because it was probably one of the biggest buildings I've seen at that time. Those were years when our local football league was popular and embraced by all Nigerians. You read about the exploits of Iwayawu National, New Nigerian Bank of Benin, Bedell Insurance of Benin, NNPC Football Club of Warri, Seasiders Football Club of Warri, ICC Shooting Stars, BCC Lions of Boko, Abiola Babes, stationery stores, and a host of others. Every Sunday morning, we will rush to the front of the Senate building to read results of the matches played over the weekend from the back page of Tribune newspaper. How such news got published early in those days still baffles me. We were the ones they call Free Readers Association. Then we will pick the papers, read and return. Those who wish to buy will drop money inside a cup or a bowl by the newsstand and walk away. Curiously, in my 4 years in Unilag, I never set my eyes on who the vendor was. Nobody had the mind of stealing his papers, and we never heard for once of any incident of theft. How it was done, I could not even figure out. Such was the extent of trust in our time. Can we make bold to say the same scenario can play itself out in today's Nigeria? What do we have today? Mutual suspicion of each other? Distrust in all facets of life? How did we get here? What happened to those glorious years of our local football, rich culture, and enviable traditions? Can we change the narrative? Can we turn back the hand of the clock? With a will? Yes, we can. Let us start from our youths, the leaders of tomorrow. I think that the best thing we can do for our children is to allow them to do things for themselves, allow them to be strong, and allow them believe more in themselves, imbibe in them that identity that was so strong in molding us to who we have become today. Then we are building a foundation for their greatness. It is not enough to revel in the glory of the good old days. It is important to take the lessons, right the wrongs. It is not too late. Our children deserve a better and greater future, not stories about the good old days. To this end, I therefore join Sir Shomore Badejo in this patriotic drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayiwa Sally, and today I am joined by my favorite. They will kill me for this.
No one will kill you. It's okay. It's okay. No, ladies, nobody kills her. I've been away for a while, so I deserve it. So thank you. Loud it again.
Oh yeah. How many months now?
It was okay. I took a break in between, so I came around. I think June.
Forget
July.
that one. Let's count from when you left. And
Okay,
now
that's about 9 months.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And it was worth it. And I must thank you and the rest of the ladies for the patience. Initially it was 6 months leave I took, but for some reason classes was extended and exams and all that. But it was worth it. And I'm so grateful you guys were patient with me, because this was a journey that I really, really needed. I had a lot of course, you know my backstory, you know my family drama and the trauma I had to go through growing up. So I got a chance to look back and spend a lot of time with myself and heal. So, yeah, and of course, increase my relationship with God. So it was a journey worth it. I'm so glad.
So when are we going to be receiving some of the kabashing and all that?
Kabash, every night with the kabash. Like, Koinonia School of Ministry is one of the best things that has happened to me, I'm telling you.
I mean, for you, it must have been tough because, I mean, suspending every single thing you were doing, you know, you're not a regular 9-to-5. Everything you do is dependent clearly on your time, you know,
Right.
to suspend that just to go, and it must have meant something really special to you.
I just felt like, obviously I'm a church girl, I'm not ashamed of it. So I just felt like God was prompting me that this is the next thing you need to do, you know. So, and where God leads you, he always makes a way. So literally, obviously I make my earning by showing up, like you have to make an appearance, right? Mm-hmm. So during that 9 months period, I wasn't working. So mostly it was just goodwill, like God was sustaining me. People just call up and you're like, oh my goodness, you're in school, how are you faring and all that, and then they're sending me money and saying, you know what, I'll handle this. I was like, hey Jesus.
That's so sweet. But I like the new look though.
Thank you.
You look a lot trimmer.
I did a lot of trekking, my sister.
You look a lot trimmer.
You know? And I think I learned humility too, because when you're in Lagos, you're driving, you're like, oh no, don't touch me. You don't have access to me. You can't do this. But this time around, I was literally forced to jump into the taxi
and mingle with other people.
Yeah, and even people who don't know you, they're like, Madam, shift now, shift. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, that's a good way to learn humility.
I learned it. I did.
All right, so I don't know if we have Elsie yet. She's supposed to be joining us via Zoom, but we don't have her. So we're discussing youth participation in politics, right? The challenges that youth face when they want to get involved, you know, in electoral positions and politics. And here's what we found as today's quote: almost everything that is great has been done by youth. This quote is very short and simple. We're hoping that some people are getting it, because young people are often excluded or overlooked as political candidates. Politics is typically regarded as a space for politically experienced men, and while women are often disadvantaged in accumulating experience to run for office, young people are systematically marginalized because of their young age, limited opportunities, and projected lack of experience. So Kunle Lawal, again, is here to discuss the challenges youth face in politics into the world. Hop on your bike, into your car, or simply get your walking boots out of your storage and go on a trip. Don't worry too much about where you are going. Just enjoy the journey. Now, what's with all the cell phones and emails constantly intruding on our lives? We can all agree that everyone needs some time to just get away from it all and feel free every now and then. And what better way to do that than to just go for a ride? I did that this weekend. Oh, yeah.
I think one of my favorite things to do, well, not exactly during daytime in Lagos, is to just drive around. I love driving. So when we're done with the show every night, it's just so much fun to just drive through, because the road is free, Third Midland is free. It's just a cruise down. It helps me to just switch off the AC and just breathe the natural air. And then I'm thinking, I'm clearing my head. So yes, I love going for rides. And I think when it comes to dating, it's actually one of my fun things to do. Just get into the car, maybe have one or two things to eat, put on good music, and you're just driving through and talking. I love it.
So this weekend, I was on an adventure spree. So I went first to the beach.
Okay,
so I took a boat.
To the beach in a while.
Yeah, I took a boat to the outskirts of, it was so beautiful. Went to this lovely beach house. It was so beautiful. I went by the waterfront, just, clearing my head. Because it's quite important for you to clear your head.
Yes.
And I love driving, like you. And also, I went somewhere the weekend and I take long walks, right? I use that time to just reflect, meditate, but I take very long walks.
Yeah, you and Norma have that together.
I have not done that in a while. So every single opportunity that I get, and I'm in a safe place, I can walk for 1 hour, 2 hours, just walking.
That's like how many? That's like 15 kilometers.
I don't even count. I don't bother counting. So this weekend was it for me. I took a lot of I went for a lot of rides in different styles. I went with the boots, I went with the boat, I went with the car. So I did all.
Too much of they worry you.
But it was a good one. All right, so Sansi, what did you find for us in the news?
Okay, so I was at the Punch earlier today and I saw this heading that really caught my attention. 90 ships seized by EFCC and right now they're rotting away at the Lagos port. And it caught my attention because this is 2021. A lot of people have just survived COVID and shipments have started again. The ports have opened and all that. And I understand that they are doing their job, like seizing things, especially when you can't account for it. Obviously, you have to check what comes into the country. So whether it's temporarily seized or permanently seized, you have a right to your job. However, my challenge is with the fact that in the story, it was reported that the Nigerian Navy doesn't have enough budget allocation to take care of those seized goods. So at the end of the day, vessels that are still under investigation are sinking, you know, a lot of them, and the worst hit is Lagos ports. So these vessels are sinking. So what if at the end of the day you realize that, okay, this vessel is cleared out, so what happens to it? I know people should have insurance, but then everybody, I don't think everything in that vessel, in those vessels are insured. You know, so you just don't take people's goods for granted because you're insuring them. Even if you realize at the end of the day that it's not needed or they can't really account for it, the federal government can do something with it, just like what customs does with the car. You know, they sell it for lower prices. Exactly, auction them. So we don't have any reason why these goods should be perishing at the port. I think it's sad. I didn't like that.
But did they state the kinds of things that they seized, though?
No, they didn't point it out. They just said vessels. So these vessels, if they have perishable goods, I mean, clothes are perishable, food stuff is perishable. So exactly. So the vessels,
even like luxury, like bags, shoes,
exactly.
Whatever it is.
So when they've been sunk in water for months, you know, you can seize houses. That's okay. Houses are, no matter when, if it's cleared or if it's not cleared, it's still an asset. But these perishable goods, if you sink a cloth inside, no matter how expensive or how long-lasting the fabric is, eventually it's going.
I was wondering why they would go to that extent, you know. But then again, it's Nigeria. So my story is quite interesting. Finally, federal government has spoken about the judicial panel report.
Okay.
And it says the errors of NSAL's report that affected the federal government will be addressed. This was said by the senior special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina. He said that the government will only address the areas of the NSAS protest that report that concerned them as federal government.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
That's quite interesting. So everybody now is saying, go and face your lane. I am facing my lane. You face your lane. So, so according to the report, you know, this judicial panel had released this report on the 15th of November. Well, we have been waiting because everybody had been waiting for what's his name was going to say. Our Minister for Information, but he has not said a word since that time. So now, hearing this, I thought, okay, finally somebody's breaking the silence to talk about it.
And
but go ahead.
It's nothing we expected to hear. Like, what do you mean? The whole case is the whole case. There is as far as I'm concerned, everything Nigeria concerns the federal government. Everything Nigeria. So you can't separate and say...
I guess we disagree with you on that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we had an interesting conversation. I think it was yesterday night or this morning. I can't remember when he was talking about, you know, the first point of call, for instance, for the NSAS protest would have been the local government chairman in charge of Etiosa before you even move on to the government, because nothing should happen within your jurisdiction without your permission.
Okay, valid view.
So,
valid
I mean,
view.
he would disagree with you on that. But I just wanted to also draw our attention to some messages going around by a senior advocate of Nigeria, the son, one of the members of the panel. I think his name is Ebun Olu Adeboruwa. Is a senior advocate of Nigeria. He says, I'll just quickly read through the statement that was shared. It says, I have not committed any crime beyond joining other eminent Nigerians with unblemished integrity to accept the nomination of government on behalf of my constituency, the Nigerian Bar Association, and the civil society, and indeed the masses of our people for a national assignment. Two prominent lawyers of the government have openly incited opinions against me on national television with mindless accusations. I have, however, refused to be intimidated or bend to the tactics of government to be silent. I urge the good people of Nigeria, my professional colleague in Nigerian Bar Association, my comrades in civil rights movement, and the people of Nigeria to hold government responsible should anything happen to me. So this guy, just last night, let me quickly read through.
Okay.
Just last night, one of the prominent NSAS protesters who testified before the panel, that's Miss Kamsi, I think Kamsi Yochukwu, how do you pronounce that, was attacked and dealt serious machete blows in what was clearly an attempted murder, as reported by her counsel, with very disturbing photos.
Yeah, I saw it online today.
Yes, he says, so I heeded the clarion call to serve by the government, I heeded the clarion call to serve by the government with the honest belief that the panel was meant to say the truth and nothing but the truth, which is what we have done. It is left for the government and Nigerians to do the needful with the report of the panel. God bless Nigeria. So according to this, this senior advocate of Nigeria is almost like on the run for his life right now. Because, I mean, everybody keeps saying, I mean, I remember Milona talking on Friday saying that she's even actually shocked that the government allowed that report to even come out in the first place. That usually a report that what's the word?
Expository.
No, not this test. Maybe the final test for us as Nigerians to believe that we have a government. So if for anything, your government does not have a hand in this witch hunt or whatever it is for the panel members, let them also find security for them and protect them.
So with their response right now, what do you think? Do you think they're feeling the litmus?
Auntie, somebody has said we will only answer our own part.
Hands off.
Hey, that's like, go and deal with you, I'll deal with me. That's not leadership, because when something happens, collectively your government. You're responsible. Whether it is local, state, or federal, you are government. So you answer as government. Right? But you know what? We're talking politics today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, despite growing evidence of youth activism and mobilization, Nigerian youth have yet to receive the level of inclusion required to gain representation in politics. Leadership deficits, money politics, poor internal democracy amongst the older parties, and an absence of a strategic political agenda pose ongoing barriers to young people playing a role in national development. Africa's political history is not complete without appreciating the roles that youth played in achieving their country's independence. Now, in the years leading to independence, youth were the driving force behind nationalist activities that led to the dismantling and eventual overthrow of colonialism and the colonial masters. Now, despite this, the role of youth in African politics has received less than commensurate attention in studies on democratization. What are the challenges young people face, and how can we rise? So we sincerely apologize for that. I'm just going to start again. Now, thanks for staying with us. Despite growing evidence of youth activism and mobilization, Nigerian youth have yet to achieve the level of inclusion required to gain representation in politics. Leadership deficit, money politics, poor internal democracy among the older parties, and an absence of a strategic political agenda pose ongoing barriers to young people playing a role in national development. Africa's political history is not complete without appreciating the roles that youth played in achieving their country's independence. In the years leading to independence, youth were the driving force behind the nationalist activity that led to dismantling and eventual overthrow of colonialism and the colonial masters. And despite this role of youth in African politics, has received less than commensurate politics. No real change can occur, or no great thing can really occur in Nigeria. So please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So I'm bringing Kunle in a minute. Madam Activism.
Yeah.
You know, the perfect anchor for this show today.
I was out there. For the NSAS.
So I know you are always out there for anything, freedom of the youth, for young people and all of that. But do you think you clearly understand the challenges that young people face, you know, getting involved in politics?
Well, I think there is a lot of them. And frankly, I don't understand all of them. But the few ones that I understand it. I understand that at this particular point that there are a lot of changes because our elderly people, is it elderly?
The older generation.
Too much respect is worrying me. The older generation, there is a lot of things, not all of them though, but most of them in power, they have disappointed us, you know, and there is a certain level of enlightenment we expect from them that they are not bringing forth. And we just believe, at least I believe, that as a young person, given our level of exposure and our understanding of the world, quick becoming a global village, that we can definitely do better in most of these things, you know. So that's, in summary, part of why I believe so much in youth activism and youth participation, that we have that, maybe we don't have that complete understanding of everything, but I know a lot of us are willing to put in the work. I believe we're willing to put in the work.
Let me ask our guest. Now, Kule Lawal is an entrepreneur, idea generator, politician, TEDx speaker, and patriot. He has a keen eye for opportunities based on his experience in politics, working with non-governmental organizations and the federal government. He is passionate about Nigeria, and he is what could be termed a detribalized Nigerian. And this will be like his second appearance on Ways. Thank you so much, Kule, for joining us tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You know why I just quickly brought you in? Because you said something, so I can't remember your exact word. But you see that word, determination and tenacity. Do you think the Nigerian youth has it today?
If I'm to answer honestly, I would say no.
Thank you.
Hold on.
And
wait, let it finish.
You know, this will be usual. You know, most of the times we engage on such conversations, there's usually an emotional response, and that's predictable. But the first thing is you can't engage something you don't understand.
Thank you.
And point an example now. I respect the NSAS. Trust me, I don't think there was ever a time that Nigeria's destiny in democracy could have been altered except that time. But the chance was lost. We must look back and understand that it wasn't strategic enough. You can't say you're going against the struggle and you don't understand the politics of the struggle. Now, all over the world, you've seen the Arab Spring, you've seen stuff happen in the world, and you only see the front end, which is the action. But what you don't see is the back end, which is the political planning and the strategy involved. And that was what was missing with the NSAS. So, of course, I do not criticize it. Instead, I'm saying it could have been better. And an example I will give is the number of people that stood out for NSAS were enough to recall the entire Lagos State House of Assembly. Mm-hmm. Nobody was thinking in that way. And if you had recalled them, you can repeal the laws. You could actually get, in 90 days, INEC could be forced to push an election. You get in a new set of local government, State House of Assembly representatives. And what you'd have done at that point is they would have instituted a law that no uniformed person, except guiding vital assets or a VIP, can carry an AK-47, which fires about 106 bullets per minute. And they would now be stuck with pistols and tasers. That could have avoided and totally changed the whole system. Another thing that was also not considered was that there's a flaw in Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which states that the social, economic, developmental rights of a citizen are not justiciable. It means anytime that clashes with the needs of the country, you can hide under protection of sovereignty to embarrass the rights of a Nigerian. Now, if that is altered, it means uniformed men do not have the strength or the ability to abuse power. So you need to understand what you're up against. And for me, I would say the first challenge of youth in Nigeria is, and I wouldn't say ignorance. I will say political illiteracy.
Okay, political illiteracy.
Now,
okay, let's let him land. Me, I will call it ignorance because I am ignorant when it comes to political. Well, so let us use your better English for lack of political. I'm politically illiterate, right? And what has this cost? Not knowing politics enough. As a young person, what's it costing us as young people?
Well, let me be clear. There's the usual, I don't know, fugazi, that illusion that the young is fighting the old. That has never happened in any country. What happens is that the young is fighting the young employed by the dinosaurs. I think that would be the best way to put it. So we're always fighting our own generation. An example in question is, let's look at the federal government in total. So the federal government, I would assure you, those that are very aged in federal government, I didn't mention anyone's name.
Upper echelon?
No, I didn't call anybody's name. So they do not clearly understand the use of Twitter or anything else. But someone within our generation who is advising will say, they're using Twitter to try to overthrow the government, and it will now force them, okay, that Twitter, let's ban it. And now the government eventually suspends because they can't use the word ban, because the truth is that the president, under the jurisdiction of his powers in the Constitution, does not have the power to ban Twitter. That is totally exclusively left for the National Assembly. And since the National Assembly didn't do that, it means the president's totally out of order, even suspending it. But let's leave that, that's another talk. We don't understand what exactly is going on within the systems. And because we do not understand this, we virtually attack the wrong part of things. So I think the point that we always say the young generation is fighting the old generation isn't basically true. If you come down to the basics, the young is actually fighting the young. It's just that one set of the young are on a payroll, and then the other set of the young are free and want a better Nigeria.
Well, you know, I do have, I like to break things down, and I think you're doing a great job of it. But however, I like to think of it, how will the person in the marketplace understand it? Because a lot of times they don't get a lot of the grammar, no offense. So when we talk about this determination and the fact that there were a lot of things that we did wrong during NSAS, that we didn't have proper strategy.
No,
yes,
I didn't say done wrong.
Okay, choice of word. It would have been done better.
Yes.
See, but Choice of word, okay. It would have been done better. We lacked a lot of strategy. However, I am a huge believer in do it afraid. Yes, it would cost us, and it did cost us a couple of opportunities that we maybe mismanaged. But come to think of it, if we did not dive in and take that opportunity, all this discovery and conversation would not have happened. Imagine if we just sat down and kept having the conversation.
So do you think that is the show of determination and tenacity?
I think, yes, to a certain extent, yes. I mean, there is no one way to weigh it, right? But if we look at it in the global, the overview, yes, that was deciding that irrespective of whatever is going on, that was determination and tenacity for a change. However, like you said, it probably wasn't channeled the right way, you know. But I think the average Nigerian youth has enough determination and tenacity, maybe not channeled towards politics, but as a human being, as an individual, yes, we are determined and very tenacious, I think.
I clearly agree with that. The young Nigerian, of course, has shown, regardless whether in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, they've distinguished themselves fully at any point. But when it comes to politics, what I think differs from other countries and Nigeria is that, I'll give an example. So you start a fintech company in Lagos, you're making quite a lot of money, you feel everything is good, and you haven't lobbied to get any legislator in the house to protect the policies which guide your business. And then one day, boom, CBN goes berserk and everybody starts screaming. Whether we like it or not, as long as we refuse to engage politics, that's not politics business. Politics will engage you. So there's no room for, no, I don't like it. No. I have a job at a multinational company. No, it doesn't work. Politics politics will engage you. And that's what we need to understand. So if our determination is, of course, pushed in a way in which we think this is what we want to, this is what our drive is, this is what our drive is, politics is. Anyway, I've run for office before, so I'll help you define what structure is. Okay. So structure is when you come to see them, you're driving the G-Class or you're driving the latest Land Cruiser on an LX470. And then you come there and then people are coming down and then you have multiple aids. That is what you think structure of politics is. Then there's no reason why you're shortchanged when people enter power and take out money. That's what will eventually happen. So you can't wish for good and yet be having a buffet with corruption. It's mismanaged. So like we're saying, so that we don't stray away too much from the topic, the first thing that, of course, a challenge we've brought out would, of course, be political illiteracy. Yes. Political illiteracy. I don't like using strong words. You know, they will now say Kunle is a politician. You are really a politician. Say Kunle is a politician. I said this, so I won't use strong words.
Political illiteracy, yeah.
The second one is, of course, finances. Now, finances has affected young people. So you can imagine you're probably 34, 35, you want to run for office. They will tell you the campaign limits according to the Electoral Act of, let's give an example, House of Rep is 25 million. But the parties already sell the form about 7 or 8 million. You're already in almost infringement within paying delegates and co before you even get anywhere on the map. And let's look at it at 34 or 35. Most people haven't even built their houses. They're staying in rented houses. So I'll tell you what happened when I ran for office. The moment I put out my posters, man, landlord just increased rent.
Oh my goodness! Oh no!
I was like, yes, now you have money to give people, so you should have money to give me. and those are the kind of funny challenges. And I'll tell you, even if, let's say, you're just, at 34, 35, you barely couldn't have been more than 6-7 years in marriage. That toll will also take on you emotionally. Right. And that, imagine if you're a woman in that case, when even as a man, it's a toll on the marriage itself. So emotionally, you are not even prepared to run for office exactly based on the African construct. Another thing that I would like to look at as a massive challenge is political parties. Now, I would say I've been lucky in life. I had the opportunity of serving on the National Executive Council. That's the highest decision making. I was National Publicity Secretary. I would say I was lucky, time, chance, and opportunity. But I'll tell you, most of the people that shout, the two big dinosaur parties that scream, they are not even known at state level, talk less of national level. I've also had the opportunity of conducting about 9 or 10 primaries as head of delegation of the National Executive Council, which is massive for my age. But people haven't had this experience. And because they've not had this experience, they do not also understand the workings of political parties. And some of them, people I know that have been in the big two, have served for 20-something years, and they're not even considered to run for State House of Assembly. Political parties have this methodology that except you come with a trailer load of money, there is a big problem to having access. And I think the last problem I would like to highlight for now will be the poor mentorship system in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So the mentorship system in Nigeria has a problem, but now the fault is from two sides. The average person wants to give out knowledge. That's someone who's succeeded, wants to give out knowledge. The first problem you have in Nigeria is the volunteers. You have a poor volunteer system. Nobody wants to just shadow someone and learn. The idea of having a mentor in Nigeria is, hey, how far can I get 500K? And then if your mentor gives you, he's my mentor, he has mentored me. Mentorship is based on currency. That's a massive problem. And then also the inability of people that have succeeded in different things to pick someone to shadow them. They always want to pick a cousin or a relative or something, not just someone out of the blues who probably shows potential. And that has been a massive problem in actually developing the kind of people that we could have, or transfer of knowledge has been a massive problem and a challenge to young people. So that is kind of dual-sided when you look at it.
It's quite interesting that you talked about time and chance and opportunity. I will look at it and I hear you speak. You speak very vastly when it comes to politics. No matter how much the time and the chance and the opportunity comes to me, they can never give me that role because I'm going to fail woefully.
I also think it has to do with interest.
Yeah, there's interest, yes. And I was going to say that you are prepared. Do you understand? And the question I would like to ask is, how many young people are truly prepared? You say you should not call it ignorance, but it still comes back to the fact that you were really prepared when it comes to knowing, that politics in itself, the constitution, everything. How many of us read?
I need to say something at this point.
Wait.
No matter what you Google, you won't find anything about politics preceding 2015. I wasn't even part of SUG in university. Well, maybe that's why I kind of think differently. Because if I had SUG influence in university, I think I'd have thought a little funny. But I didn't have that. But I would say my time, like I said, time, chance, and opportunity. I would also say I came at, I don't know whether it was a special time, but I also put in quite a lot of work.
That's it.
I know, but I put in quite a lot of work.
So, Kuli, that's what you should be saying to us. But you know what? Let's take a break.
Okay.
Let's go and drink water. We'll be right back. Okay. Thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we are having an amazing chat with Kunle on the challenges youth face in politics.
Like me, for instance, I was never interested in politics. As far as I'm concerned, just get on with your life. Whatever happens, happens. It wasn't up until I got involved in media and I had to do newspaper review and I had to talk about these things that I started picking interest. Okay, I'm not reading to know politics. I'm reading because I need to know what to say, right? I need to be updated with events. And then at the end of the day, I started seeing the loopholes like, oh, this is what we need. This is what I can do. This is what youths can do better. I don't know a lot of it, right? But it sort of happened on me. And so now I'm growing in it, right? So somebody would perhaps see me and say, oh, Sandra, you're interested in it. I'm like, no, I wasn't interested. It just happened and I'm growing on it. So was that sort of your story on time and chance? Because if that is your story, then we can't blame other people for not being interested. It's okay to have your own interest, I think. I think it's okay to not be interested in
where
politics.
Is this? No, hold on. Let's even go back to the root cause of all of this. Where is it happening? Where are we missing out in terms of youth participation in going into political positions? Is it from the grassroots level where people are not taught politics, is not in our curriculum, history? Is that a problem for us? That's why people are not interested, because the interest would be coming from somewhere. I mean, the indifference will be coming from somewhere. Where is that coming from?
I think where the fault line starts from is that Nigeria generally as a culture does not respect meritocracy. And because we do not respect meritocracy, we look for easy ways to get the money and get out. So at that point, you find it hard to love a country. And if you don't love a country, you find it harder to participate. I'd like to also, at this point out, a lot of CSOs, I'm not trying to sub anybody, and then a lot of agencies. There's always this drive, vote. Political participation, voting is probably the same thing that I said primaries.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you why. Because as long as you do not influx yourself in a political party, I'll be honest, if 2 million Nigerians voted, and that's in the final election, it wouldn't matter if 100 million were part of the political parties, were part of the primaries, and ensured that quality candidates came out.
Yeah.
It means all the candidates will be good. So 2 million can decide, we don't care. And that is where the problem lies. So nobody tells you that, because also they want to bring out this iron curtain to make politics mystical. That kind of thing. He has run for Senate, distinguished or honorable. We must make it mystical. The truth is, there's nothing mystical about it. I'll tell you, there were 84 million registered voters.
84 million.
Yes, and only 28 million voted for presidency. For governor, that number drops to about... The average Lagos boy, wants to party, wants to do stuff. And to put in a councillor, I don't think any councillor in the Lagos State local government elections won with over 3,000 votes. That is buying a few things, drinks and whatever, for 3,000 people. Come on, you can almost put in a councillor anywhere. We don't even understand the system that first the councillor is the National Assembly of the local government, while the chairman is the executive function. We also do not understand that because
I didn't even understand that until he said
we
it.
also don't.
I had to learn.
We also don't understand that the fact that they are the closest to us, that's the councillors and the local government.
We should meet first.
Yes, they're the people you should meet first. But something key, in anywhere in the world, they don't have immunity. And you want to know why? Because you can see when you can hold them accountable, and they live not too far away from you. So if you find out that your local government chairman is doing something wrong or has embezzled money on a particular project, please sue him to court, and he will go to jail. He has no immunity, and we don't even understand that. So these simple lines, and I'll tell you, this has been built so that a lot of us wouldn't understand. In the normal fiction that politics is bad, I'll tell you, do you know what led us here? Sometimes in the 80s, our parents were all graduates, going to Scotland, going to Germany, going to France, and, getting the, pristine education. They left politics for the so-called dropouts. Well, I don't need to tell you how that ended.
Oh, we know. That's where we are today. I mean, that's one of let's take some comments. That's one of the foundation for the problems that I see that we're facing today. But Kunle, this is actually...
an eye-opening conversation.
Is it? No, I'm actually feeling depressed.
No, you shouldn't.
No, why? Because it means we really have a long way to go. A lot of us don't have an idea of what we're supposed to be doing as young people, right? And I'm a bit worried now. Hearing you break it down for me like this, I'm a bit worried. Should I not be worried?
Yeah, you should be. But I'll tell you, no matter how much work we put, I think Nigeria will just get fine when we're about 80 or 90. That's if we start now.
Wow.
I'll tell you, most of my work for me, it's actually, I'm just concerned with the next generation.
So the prevailing societal attitude towards young people is often that they are troubled and troubling, which gives justification to act upon them without their agreement. That's a check away, what's that, 2011? The elites here continue to exploit these views and shamelessly keep occupying political offices to the detriment of the youth and their future. The majority of our rulers today are in their 70s, and by God's grace, in the next half decade, majority of them will not be able to stand the heat of politics again. Then surely the country will be free from these rulers in the name of leaders. This is from Raphael Okorin from Zaria. Do you think this will happen? I don't think so, because if I go by your analysis when we started the conversation where you said the dinosaurs are paying this crop of young people to do their bidding, to fight us, the same young people. They're already grooming those generation of young people. So what do you think would eventually happen? Nothing would happen if the status quo remains this way.
Because the junior dinosaurs will take over.
Yes.
That's what will happen.
And it's not even up until they take over. They're not doing the work. It's their mind that is doing the work. So they have the executors, right? So
yeah,
I don't think the heat of politics will eventually get to them.
Do you think so? Do you agree with him?
For me, I can't agree with him because he thinks one set will go out and then I'll tell you for free. I've always said governance is not a reflection of age or gender or religion. And there's a reason why I keep myself within those parameters. The truth is that off the record, okay, I'm on TV, it's not off the record. So off the record, I'm more afraid of my own generation. And there are reasons why. My generation probably will take some things a little too far, as we've seen. I don't want to mention some names, but the guy acting in Kogi has probably given us quite a preview to what my own generation is capable of. We won't use him to judge the entire generation, but this is someone who is, of course, a feeder of the dinosaurs from the Jurassic Park. So you know what's going to happen. They are going to only breed baby dinosaurs, nothing else.
We need to pay Jurassic Park, man. Okay, I'll take a few messages. This one says, the old people in government keep saying that the youths are leaders of tomorrow. I'm still wondering, when will the tomorrow come? Sincerely speaking, the NSAS protest in 2021 brought out the unity, courage, determination, and tenacity of the Nigerian youth. Lastly, a few of the youths are sellouts to the old generation, and it stinks. I believe if the youth can unite, they will succeed. That's from Bobby Kennedy, Jalingo, Taraba State. What do you think of that?
Yes, of course, if unity is necessary. I think the problem that we've had most, of the younger generation is that we do not have a cohesive action. Upon we have, somewhere that we can fully unite, I think till NSAS we've not seen a cohesive action by people of, our timeline. And the truth is, we do not understand that the fight for the soul of this country is going to happen in 2023. It's going to be, 2023 will pass power from one generation to another. And please do not think it's coming to our generation. Let me bust people's bubble. There's a generation that is waiting in line. You know that generation, the Sanusi Lamido Sanusi generation. They've been ministers, governors, and now, what do you offer them? They're waiting in line. So they are next in line. No, we come down like 8 or 12 years down the line before you measure our generation. Okay. So they are waiting. So this is a tussle for generation. Of course, we have to find ways to, of course, work within that system. And our generation is totally not taking it serious. Most of us think it's time to whatever.
So, but are we getting it right when it comes to the generation after us that are coming up? Are we getting it? Because now, when I hear you speak, honestly speaking, I'm not interested. There's nothing that will push me that I will go for any. Maybe if you give me an appointment, I will take it. No, do you understand? But in terms of politics, like go for where I will be voted for, I will not be doing campaign, all those, I'm not interested. And I know many people in my generation that are not interested, right?
No. Yes. You don't need to be interested. You see, even the thought that running for office is politics is a problem.
So that's not politics. What is then politics? Politics is getting involved, right?
Yes. Also, I would like to throw in this question. What then influences political participation?
A lot of things. You could join a political party. You could support a candidate. You can afford to give 2K every month to a candidate.
Some people would say that it's mostly personal interest, that at the bottom of political participation is personal interest.
Wait, I want to understand something. We all carry the same passport, don't we? Aren't we all united personally to a country? What are you talking about?
Okay.
It's, of course, individually. I'll give you an example. So most of the time, we're going to that direction. Why don't I commit myself to the same
possible
political
because these political parties have also not projected those ideologies as strongly as we would see with other political parties in other countries?
Let me bust a bubble. It's commonly said that political parties in Nigeria don't have ideology. Whoever said that has probably not read any party constitution. Nigerian parties have a very good political party constitution and great ideology. Do they follow it? That's another kettle of fish. So it means that the issue in Nigeria is the players who are in the game. So I'll give you an example. So I'm an Arsenal fan. Most people laugh when they hear that. I'm a loyal Arsenal fan.
I am too. Hey, go Gunners.
So they kind of laugh at us a lot and attribute losing to us. But that doesn't make us hate football. So why then do we hate politics because of the bad players in the game? Why don't you just bring in more people into the game and then settle out the chaff? We don't do that, but instead we want to say the whole politics, the whole game is bad. And that's where the problem is.
So you mentioned money. I want to list back what you said about the challenges, right? Political illiteracy, finances, emotional, political parties, poor mentorship. I like that part of money. Do you think that it is for lack of money? Like young people, I mean, see what happened with
Davido.
And I said it when I was going to talk about it. I said, imagine if, and we have 1,000,001 Davido in Nigeria, I hope you know, that can monster that amount of money in matter of minutes, right? So shouldn't the conversation, I don't know how to explain it. So it's still going back to this lack of interest. Because if we truly understand what is at stake and we truly want to change to say this is someone that we can bank on, I am sure even if it is 1 billion naira, we'll be able to raise that money for that young person. So why is that not happening?
Let me tell you what my comments were after that Davido's issue. So when I saw it, of course, I think, it's great and he's giving money to charity. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But my question is, people are ready to raise 200 million in 24 hours. Why are we not ready to raise that kind of money so that everybody in Nigeria can afford a Rolls Royce? None of us have thought in that manner. And for once, I'm going to call out, a few religious institutions. They might take this personal, but come on, we have a country to fight for. So I'm even the set of people I'm most surprised about are the religious institutions. At the snap of a finger, they can raise close to 50 billion in a second. Please tell me why none of them have installed a president or been behind a candidate fully. You don't see these actions, and then it comes down to the whole thing. And the funny thing, you want to pray for insecurity. You want to pray for economic development.
Allow me to just chip in something here. I think I'm a very churchy person, and my word matters to me. So it doesn't matter how close I am to you. If I don't trust you or your integrity, even if you put a knife to my neck, I will not. No, you cannot
tell me that, Sanzi. I'm sorry.
Okay, this is my view. Okay.
It's what you have to say.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that no matter what, I mean, what he raised is a very strong.
Because they are not coming
out very emotional point for
to
me.
Support a political
You cannot tell me all the people in your church. You cannot find one person that is good enough for you to install as a president or a governor or something.
So are you saying that they should form a political party? No, because even if they find one person, the person is obviously going to align to...
And that's the truth. And it's not only churches. I call out mosques too on the same thing. And I've spoken at some mosques too. Electoral College is taking this to religious institutions. And the thing is that our projection or understanding of leadership is a little thwarted by how we think of it. Mm-hmm. So as long as you're not committed to the system, then there's a problem. I'll tell you, the church was very instrumental in America to installing Donald Trump.
Of course.
Go and look at the figures. So as long as we're not ready to play that game, please don't be praying for insecurity or anything. It's not going to change it.
Absolutely. Let me take a comment. There's a need for political awareness. You can't be praying for something that God has given you the capacity to solve. That's my point. You can't. There's a need for political awareness among the youth. We need to understand this political game and also begin to support youthful aspirants who may not have money for the type of politics in Nigeria. This is from Uchechukwu from Jalingo, Taraba State. Then you have a comment, Sanzi.
Yes, I do. This is from Benson. He says, good evening. Bearing the current perceived blindness of governance in Nigeria by citizens, it is important that the following subjects are mandatory in secondary schools. 1, character and citizenship education, and then secondly, government. This will greatly help nurture and the right expectations. Then the second one is, the problem with our election is not that youths are not ready to vote, but the process is stressful. Lots of youth want to participate in the electioneering process, but every aspect of it is extra tedious.
So no, this one is not. So we are not talking about voting. What Kunle has been happening on from day one is go and be into that. Go and be in position where you can. Yes, where you can select the people that eventually will be on ballot papers. You know, let me take a comment, Babati from Abuja. I think you have one more comment. I think the major problem with Nigerian politics is that there's no working leadership system in Nigeria. If there's a requirement for every prospective candidate to go through a world-renowned leadership institute, it will better our political system in Nigeria. Thank you for that. Because I mean, this comment, you want to quickly take yours?
I'm still refreshing.
Okay.
We can go on.
This comment that, what's his name said, Babati, what's his name? This is what I'm saying, that can we take it back? Because we are already missing out. Even my children now, how much of politics are they involved in? And that's why when they wanted to run for head boy and all of that, because now they do it like the way you run with a manifesto and all of that. I encourage them to have some semblance of leadership when it comes to but that's the only thing close to participation, right, in politics or whatever for them. Right, that leadership and all of that, that's all they know. So if you have children now that are not even involved or they're not even interested, then we will continue to have these junior dinosaurs, you know, because these junior dinosaurs will eventually become older dinosaurs, grooming another dinosaur. So what then is the hope? So quickly.
Okay. So right now,
but we have 1 minute left.
Yeah. Okay. So the system is rigged to only produce itself. The only way we can unrig the system is to directly get in a massive number to influx the system, then flush it out. That's the only way. But if not, the system is going to keep replicating itself. Now, most of the people think corruption started in Nigeria in this dispensation. There are videos in 1962 of our greats landing with a helicopter. Do you know what a helicopter was in 1962? Owned by a political party, not owned by a person. And it was Action Group. And I don't want to call his name because highly respected by, you know them. So he landed with a helicopter in 1962, and the helicopter was branded with the party's name. 1962, a helicopter. That's like having a space shuttle in 2021. So we didn't start this corruption today.
Okay, so let me quickly take one more message. Says the problem with our election is not that the youth are not ready to vote, but the process is too stressful.
Of the entire populace. If you do not take a picture or a selfie as a Nigerian when you see a corrupt politician and then your friends hail you, hey, you're moving up, then you could fix the problem. So ideology is based on the citizenry. Nobody should point to the politicians. There are few. They do what we allow them to, not that they do what they want to do.
So you know, I think in like I know, but I think in like bullet points, if you could.
We can't do bullet points. We'll run out of time. But thank you so much, Kule. We need to bring you back. At least you'll be our educator till we get to 2023.
Yeah.
If you missed today's post, please here it is again. Almost everything that is great has been done by youth. It's a simple quote. Go and think it well. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
There are two words I think shouldn't go together: sibling and rivalry. Siblings presupposes relationship, it's family, brother, sister. Then rivalry, unhealthy competition. How can they go together? And yet the reality is that there is sibling rivalry, and there has always been from the time of Cain and Abel. And so I asked myself, how did it arise? Abel was a different kind of person from Cain, and the suggestion is really that he was loved more. So did that create an undertone that led to Cain taking his life? But Abel himself was also a generous person. So it comes from two sides, who we are and how we're treated. This is what we're going to be talking about today in the lounge, sibling rivalry. The usual, dare I say, suspects are here. Ebu, Omoye, Saudat. But we have a guest today, Shirley Ann Bello. And she has